has started. Hello and welcome to 200 of Superconnectivity, which actually I guess this is the first time you're coming to episode 200 of Superconnectivity, but you've probably been here before, or maybe this is your first time, because everybody's podcast is somebody's first podcast, and boy, did you pick a doozy. I am your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me, let's do our fairer half, our sweeter half, our more feminine half, in Pittsburgh.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, compared to Lilith, yeah, I guess. Phil me and Perich.
Yes, and of course, my arch nemesis, live from my. Are you back in Florida now?
Oh yeah, I've been in Florida for a while.
Okay, yes. Vote early, vote often. Who are we talking to in Florida?
It's Lilith Fight Me Nerds Hellfire. What's up, guys?
Lilith got kicked out of Canada, Hellfire.
Yeah, well, you know, that was for Canada's
I kept flirting with the Prime Minister. They didn't like it.
Yeah, they are very protective of their Prime Minister. He's dreamy, you know.
Yeah, Justin can get it.
Yes.
Good Lord.
Yeah. By the way, so do all of our podcasts start with recording has started?
Now they do.
Every one of the Capes and Lunatics up. Yes, everyone.
I feel so privileged and honored.
When you hear the Charlie Esser, you know the show has started.
Yes. Look for the two E's in the middle for quality. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So for those of you who don't know, I was in another quality production years before I started podcasting. A little magnum opus by Wild Eye Cinema called Blitzkrieg, Escape from Stalag 69. I starred as the incomparable, evil scientist, Helmut Schultz. And this film is now available on Tubi. And in honor of our 200th episode, and the fact that my dear friends do want to make fun of me, we are dedicating a portion of this episode, maybe the whole episode, we'll see, to a discussion of this great work of fiction. I will warn you, maybe some spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen it, you can pause this, go to TubiTV.com and go watch it. It's free. You've got limited commercial interruptions, yet no editing of the gore, sex, and violence. So
that's right.
There you go.
If you like naked people, if you want Charlie Esser as a megalomaniacal Nazi, this is the movie for you. You can put that on the box. Quote me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not Charlie Esser, Charles Esser.
Charles, so fancy.
Yes,
yeah,
Hollywood.
You know, I'll tell you a little backstage gossip here. Me and the director got into a bit of a thing about that. I wanted to be Charlie Esser because I was actually Charlie Esser on all of my other IMDb stuff. I'm in another film, a comedy film, I believe it's called Turn Left, which was a sketch comedy thing. Yeah. Oh, you've seen that? Yeah.
I saw your IMDb pic. I was looking for the movie. Yeah, I came across.
Yeah.
it.
So I'm in there. I'm Charlie Esser, and of course, Downriver Sucks. I'm Charlie Esser. You know, so I'm in a lot of things as Charlie Esser. But he said, no, Charlie was too nice of a name. You're an evil guy. I want you to be Charles Esser. And I said, okay, you know. And he can put on the cut. So what am I going to do? Yes. But anyway, but that's why, yes, I'm Charles Esser as Helmut Schultz in Blitzkrieg, Escape from Stalag 69. Yeah. I don't know if you're quite ready for that movie yet.
I was just going to ask you, have the kids seen it? Has your wife seen this movie?
Yeah. What I will tell you about this film, and you may have noticed that we actually had some really talented people in this film. Tatiana Kot, she doesn't get as many lines as she should. She is an amazing actress. You can see her in New York acting all the time. She's a dancer. She is fantastic. And it was an honor for me to work with her. She actually is the star of the film that I produced with Ed Lazar who helped me do Downriver Sucks, called I Know You Want This, which someday will be completed. It's a great film. I wrote it. It's fantastic. It's out. Yeah, Ed still has to finish editing it, and he has not finished editing it, and now we're having music rights issues. Am I getting too choppy?
It was getting a little, but it's all right. So was that the adult? Was that the adult gentleman's club one?
Yeah. And ironically, no nudity in it.
Because it's in Jersey.
It is just yeah, well, of course, because there are no strip club. Well, there are strip clubs in Jersey, but not ones that serve alcohol. You cannot serve alcohol in a strip club in New Jersey. The Sopranos lied to you.
Why Lilith will never live in New Jersey. She loves her alcohol and nudity.
I don't think New York.
Yeah, and I'll be honest.
I can't remember off the top of my
head. Okay, so New York clubs, they have what are called Rudy clubs, although since Rudy has been out of power for a while, they may no longer be as Rudy as they once were, where you had to have a certain portion of your club be dedicated to non-sexual content. So you had a portion of the club that was basically a go-go club like you'd have in Jersey, where there'd be bikini girls dancing and drinks. And then you could go in the back, and that's when you'd pay a cover, because New York clubs have covers, and that's where the nudity would occur. Nowadays, I think you have to pay a cover at the door, so I think they've moved the nudity right back up front now that we no longer live under the tyranny of Benito Giuliani here over in New York City.
All the large sodas you want. Anyway, speaking of music previously, I did like the scoring of this.
You did? Yeah, I mean, I got to give Keith credit, man. When we were making this film, it was a slog. This film took... I remember telling him at one point that when we started this film, I had just gotten married to my wife, and several years on, Ben was about to have his second birthday, and we still hadn't finished the film. So, all in all, it was a very long film to make, and the script is like this. Like there's a lot that isn't in this film that we shot, I'm sure. Although surprisingly, as I was rewatching, I was like, man, I remember these are like all the best scenes. So, like the stuff he cut, I think he just, yeah. It is a well edited film. I feel for what it was a very well edited film for what he had to work with. Little known fact: pretty much 90% of this film is shot in his backyard in Long Island. It's like one location, and we just with the magic of turning the camera, he builds this entire other universe, like all the way down in Argentina. It's like it's amazing when you look at it like that. But it's just one location, and he really did a lot with it. I loved in the theater and further out in Long Island.
I loved your performance. I love the accent, but what I thought was good? You and the gentleman who played kind of your sidekick or your right hand man.
Oh yes. Steve Montague.
Yes.
He on Tubi, you'll see he's in another film. It's kind of maybe sad, maybe great. Well, actually, when you search for us on Amazon Prime, because it's weird because you can't really search easily on Tubi, but if you have Amazon Prime, they'll direct you to Tubi where it's free. So it's like it's a bit of a circular route you have to go to get to it, but you can get there. Trust me. Anyway. But Steve Montague, he's been in a lot of little films here and there. He actually, the scenes in the theater. I don't remember if he owns the theater or he runs that theater, but basically he had that theater and he said, well, you guys come out to my theater and we'll shoot some stuff. And so, our torture scene with the African-American actress that was up in the rafters there. Then of course you have the scenes, when we run the movie projector, that's on the stage there, of course. When Tammy is dancing, that's in the theater, obviously. It's a fun film. It's a fun film. And, if you don't mind a couple of castrations here and there.
Oh,
as you do.
As you do. As he always, as Keith Crocker would always say, Hostel has one castration scene. Blitzkrieg has two. Therefore, Blitzkrieg is twice as good as Hostel.
And it lowers your defenses because that one's like right after the bathtub sex scene, and then it's like, oh, okay.
Exactly.
She pulls out the knife. She's like, okay, she's gonna stab him in the chest or something. No.
This is, you gotta remember, this is a Naziploitation film. Naziploitation, it's a genre, and honestly,
mostly in porn.
As Lilith would know.
I mean, honestly, I've never found Nazis that pornographic. I don't know. I mean, like the gore aspect I got, but like the nudity, yeah, Ilsa She-Wolf of the SS. I mean, the covers were suggestive, but how much really happens in the film, I don't know. I haven't seen Ilsa She-Wolf of the SS. I've actually seen very little. This is actually like the only Nazi-exploitation film I've ever seen, which I think is good because you should come to these kind of works with a clean palette and create your own art from it.
And I mean, it starts pretty quick. I mean, within the first 5 minutes or so, Charles Esser takes out like a bunch of people.
I know.
I am a bit of a BAMF, as they say. In this
That's my drop.
Yes,
totally.
I am quite
that.
I would say that
like Nightcrawler before me. I'm quite the BAMF. And yeah, and I really don't tolerate. My character does not tolerate fools. I tolerate fools a lot. I love fools. I am one. I tolerate them. We all get along. But the character, who is a very different person than me, although I tried to imbue him with some humanity, it was hard, but I think I accomplished it.
But mommy, I want to be a Nazi.
No, he wanted to be a scientist. Don't misquote the canon. He wanted to be a scientist.
He would be a National Socialist scientist.
Well, he was a National Socialist, but you know what? And he was a believer in the cause. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying his primary motivation was his love of science. And like Werner von Braun, it's who signs the checks, man.
Oh, I love the one experiment. I love the one experiment when you put the woman in the bunker and hit her with radiation and then cut her in half. I'm like, okay, Von Doom.
I know.
Yeah. You know what? There was actually an actor. I believe his name is Rondo, but he was one of the he's like one of the lesser known Universal. This is actually just a fun side note that I think informs a lot of comic book culture. He was just a normal looking guy, and he went to war in World War I, got exposed to a gas attack, suffered basically a case of gigantism afterwards. And got a distorted head, gigantic muscles all over his body, and he was billed as the monster with no makeup for Universal Studios, and he played a recurring character called the Creeper in several films. And it just struck me as interesting that here was this guy who, much like the Incredible Hulk, got exposed to some unknown substance in a time of war, and became, well, yeah, but nobody, people, it was a mystery, but because of that, he actually did develop a mutation that was quite troubling for him, to be honest with you, but certainly gave him that look of that monstrous appearance. And I often wonder if things like the Hulk maybe had some inspiration from this actor's story. Just a complete side note, but yeah. But getting back to my film.
All right, I have a question.
Mighty Manny.
I have a question. The important question. You do an accent. Of course, you do a German accent in this movie. Are you method? Are you like Daniel Day-Lewis? Did you have to stay in character the whole time? At least with the accent?
No, literally as soon as it. I come from the Sir Laurence Olivier School of Acting, in which you try to act and you pretend to be someone. This is actually what this was Ian McKellen's advice to Ricky Gervais. You see, when I try to become something, you see, like I am not actually a mutant warlord. What I do is I try to imagine what that person would be, and then I pretend to be them. and that is how you act. So yeah, so I
Definition of
tried to
acting?
imagine. Yeah, well, I mean, depending on who,
Well, every
unless you talk to
method
Daniel Day-Lewis, you know.
Every method of acting is a method. I hate that. I hate
Yeah.
that term. Method acting.
Right.
Every form of acting is a method. Everything has a method.
Well, yeah, I mean, what I'll tell you is, you know, certainly you try to feel the emotions as the character when you're performing. But, you know, if you're a good actor, you then turn it off when you're done acting. When they call cut, you sort of go, and you shake it off and you go have a beer with everybody. Because, you know, and if you have that hard of a time getting back into character, maybe acting isn't the right field for you. That's all I got to say. You know, maybe, you know, I'm not that you're not doing a great job, but, you know, that's going to take a lot of toll on you. It's like, you know, people.
And that's
like,
why he's retiring.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, honestly, I mean, that's the thing. It's like if he has to be in character that long, that's hard, man. That would be painful and difficult, you know?
Because he always
Like,
plays a real SOB. Like that's his jam. So.
Well, he also played Lincoln and Nettie Bumpo.
Still SOBs if you ask me, but
I've heard that with other actors, like they at least keep the accent, you know, while they're on set, just because they don't want to. I don't know if they're afraid their accent's going to shift and it's not going to sound the same.
Yeah, no, I'm really good with accents, so that's not. Or at least I always thought I was.
We should have made
a little bit of German background anyway, though, Charlie, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, honestly, that's one of the easiest ones to do, you know. And although I do really much, as some people have pointed out, I do a much more of an Austrian accent than a German accent. But that's okay. Hitler was Austrian.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, nobody really knows the difference.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, it's what I always say about accents is that, you know, you want to do an accent that most people are going to recognize as that accent. You don't have to be spot on because, first off, no accent is spot on. You know, you can speak to an Irish guy from Scotland and they will not necessarily sound Scottish. Like, they'll do a word, they say, that doesn't sound Scottish. It's like, well, okay. You know, that's just the way I say the word, you know, because we live in a world where people are interacting and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, so you don't worry about authenticity, you worry about believability. I think I did a believable accent in an unbelievable film. You know, that's my feeling on my accent. And I think we all try. I mean, I think we all tried our best. We get some flack about the accents because obviously not all of us. Well, actually, for those of us who did German accents, I think we all did a good job. You know,
no, they were
good.
They were good. They were good, but I mean, of course, with me and Lilith, we know you for how long without the accent, so it just seemed.
Yes. Oh, you should see me in Downriver Sucks.
Why do you do an
You
accent
look at that
there?
one up there. Oh yeah, I play Guba. Guba from Giberia. Speaks only gibberish.
Are you the star of that also? The main
No,
star?
I'm just a character actor. I wrote and produced it though. And
he wrote himself in like M. Night Shyamalan over here, guys.
Yeah, well, he's a fun character. In the expanded canon of that universe, he actually plays a much more pivotal role in Lee's growth after the film. But in Downriver Sucks, we just basically do the first chapter. And what really, I had an idea to make it like a 2-hour epic film. Or just 4 short subjects in a quadrilogy.
He's the silent Bob.
Yeah. Except he actually is very talkative. He just doesn't say anything because he only speaks Giberish.
Smoked a doobie.
He knows what the kids like.
I know the hip
Bistro.
language the kids use these days.
So what do you
Anyway.
So what do you like better? Do you like acting in front of the camera, or do you like the writing better?
Oh, you know what? Here's what I'll tell you. Acting is hard. Writing is so much easier. But to watch other people read your words, and they don't do it like in your brain, and that can be frustrating. And you know, you want to direct people. And that doesn't help them most of the time. I really hope someday you can see the trailer for I Know You Want This, but I hope people get to see I Know You Want This because that is a really good film. Again, with Tatiana Kot, Josh Potter, who plays our villain of the piece, sort of in the Helmut Schultz role. Oh
no.
Pervicelis, he actually produced his own film that's out winning awards after we produced our film, because he said I inspired him to make his own dang film, and he did his, he got it done, and it's out there winning awards, and we're still waiting for our to get our music rights declared. You know what happens is that sometimes you get like interested in a certain set of songs, and they're not really public domain. Like there's this great band out in Detroit called the Ruiners. Look them up. And they actually have a redheaded Russian singer in the group. So when I saw it, I was like, oh wow, they're great. And there's like a bunch of great songs that they had. We got the rights to, but then one of the other ones we haven't, one of the songs and got took off.
Of course.
Oh, quick, while he's not here. So, favorite scene was when he was in the bed with that other guy.
I don't know if I got
Hilarious.
that.
You didn't make it.
I don't know if I got that far now.
Oh, you got to keep going. You got to finish it.
What about when he's at the dinner table in his suspenders and no shirt?
No, but the gore was really interesting. Towards the end, there's this person with their eye out, and I was just like, "Is that a chicken drumstick with pig's blood on it?" Like, I need to ask him what that was, if he knows what that was. I was just like, I had to stop the frame.
Father, you must understand.
I love how quickly the plot goes, though. It didn't drag for me. It just, I ran out of time because I started a little late.
Me too. It's been a busy week since someone had to do an interview by himself. Scroll down.
Sorry, I thought Charlie for sure was going to show up. Otherwise,
he's like, no, it's DC stuff. No, it's okay. Brian's a great guy. He said he might
get him to do his drop.
No, I forgot, but he said he said he would come back when Titans drops because he wrote 2 of the episodes. So.
Ooh, okay.
So yeah.
So I'll be nice about Titans until after we have him on.
Okay. So yes, he said he'd come back. Oh, look, there's 2 Charlie Essers.
Oh no, this is getting out of hand. Now there's 2 of them.
A Nazi cloning experiment, except he's not there. It's just his house. Charlie Esser. Don't go all Hollywood on us. Come on. Charles.
Talent. This is why I'm not in public relations anymore. The talent is so damn fickle.
Charlie.
Maybe he had to get a refill of his apple juice.
Maybe.
Speaking of which.
Superconnectivity 200. He's gonna miss like half of it.
Also, did you make it to the burlesque scene, basically, where she's singing and dancing?
I don't think so. No.
That was a great part of the movie.
We should ask him, like that bathtub scene, we should ask him if the sex was simulated or real.
Well, he was married, so I would hope it was simulated.
Well, no, not Charlie. It was another guy. No. No, not Charlie. It's the other guy.
That was a small bed, though. You have to push through and get to that scene at least. I was going to say, that was a small bed for 2 guys.
Charlie's married. I was waiting for waiting.
And we're back.
A method.
Sorry. Oh, I had to yell at the kids for a few minutes.
Hey.
Oh, hey, I'm back. Sorry. No, I don't know. The Wi-Fi cut out suddenly, and
yeah, we were just discussing like our favorite scenes and stuff, and
I can't wait to hear it on the podcast.
Scene was one of my favorites, by the way.
Oh yeah, Tammy Dalton. She still does a lot of theater out. She actually, I believe she's out in I think she's in the Philadelphia area now. She has a beautiful little daughter named Scarlett. She's doing very nicely. Really, everybody that like you see in that, they're all still out there. They're all still working hard. We're all still trying to make our way. In the film.
Acting's not for me. I like being an extra for craft services. That's it. If my part makes it in, great. If it doesn't, I don't care. I'm just here for the craft services.
We need to do a documentary.
Well, yeah. I don't even remember what we did. Oh no, we used to. Keith used to get us pizzas all the time. It was actually not too bad as far as craft services go. Yeah, I mean, the real story about that film is that I was basically everyone's chauffeur because I was a guy with a car because I was from Michigan, so I had a car.
You're the star of the picture, and you're driving everyone around.
Oh, I was driving
PA
everyone around.
duties. I don't miss those days.
Oh, but Lilith, didn't you have a question about the blood or the special effects in the one scene?
Yeah, okay, so there's a scene towards the end where the guy has his eye pulled out. Now it made me stop because like I like gore. And I was like, was that a chicken drumstick with do you know the scene I'm talking about?
Wait, what happens? Oh,
the guy's eye is like missing,
eyeball.
but it's pulled out, yeah.
Oh, that was Wayne Chang, I believe. Correct. It was the Japanese general.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what I can tell you is we had. Oh man, I'm forgetting his name because I'm bad with names. Our makeup guy. We had this really young, hot kid makeup guy. I used to pick him up because he lived in Jersey City. I used to pick him up all the time. Yeah, he did so many great things. And that's sort of this thing about like what we were going to be doing in the final scene. Because you were supposed to see, spoilers, my head get blown up. And we made a plaster cast of my head, but for whatever reason, but what happened is when they shot it, they did the green screen wrong, and so they couldn't cut it properly. Oh. So that's why it ends on blackness. But because it ends on blackness, it is an off-camera death, if it is a death at all, which means sequel. We could see Blitzkrieg 2, Electric Boogaloo. And I told
the GoFundMe page, Indiegogo page.
Escape from Stalag 70.
Yes.
A prequel, baby.
A prequel.
Oh man. Well, here's what I'm gonna say, man. We could do a whole exploration of the alt-right. There's lots you can do here, man. It's like I think this film can help you understand the alt-right in a very real way, because it's like guys who probably were overprivileged to start with, but still feel downtrodden because of the social dynamics in their family. They want to be important, but they're really not very good at what they do. And so they turn to hatred and anger. And that's sort of what I encapsulated with Helmut Schultz.
Okay, the scene where you're in the bed with the guy, that was a small bed.
Yeah, well, it was like, I think it was like just a full-size bed. But, not for nothing, this is like supposed to be the 1930s, 1940s. Beds weren't that big back then. The Hollywood King doesn't come around until like the 1950s or 60s. Prior to that, beds were small. People, with like two and a twin. That's why they're called twin bed. Yeah. Well, hey, if you love the person. But yeah. I'm just saying.
You don't appreciate it at first, but then you're like, oh, I get it. I mean,
the reason why we have like a size queen and a size king is because those were like the super fancy beds that most people that was that sign of luxury that you could maybe one day get. So most people didn't have it. When I went to in like the late 90s, my dad went to Germany and my nephew went there as well, and we stayed in like a little hotel, and literally beds were like smaller than a twin because that's what you slept in. The Europeans are very efficient people. They don't like to have a lot of space.
Well, they don't have a lot of space to give either. So.
Well, exactly. So, I mean, it's sort of catch-22. But, yeah. So, yeah, it was a very small bed. But, I love that scene because I do feel that's a moment where you see some humanity.
Yes,
now,
exactly.
Honestly, I think that Steve Montague's character, in many ways, is the evil exploitive person that he appears to be. I think Helmut, although he is truly evil, believes in has sort of a belief system. His belief system is messed up, but he has something he believes in. I don't think Steve Montague's character really believes in these things. I think that he is just taking it as it comes, and he's basically getting it where he can and having it however he wants. And I think that's great for his character. I think that very much defines his character. Interesting, we actually, there was not supposed to be a kiss between me and Dr. Zuba in this film, played by the phenomenal Stefan Vlach. But in that moment, we both felt it. That was my first on-screen kiss. I will always remember that. And I think it very much changed the dynamic of the film. Because I think originally when Keith wrote it, he wanted Helmut to be very fixed in his sexual orientation. But I kind of felt that, no, I think that he is just a man desperate for love. And anyone who he feels any admiration from, he is just going to glom onto because he is so desperate for love. Still don't hug a Nazi. Don't hug a Nazi.
Sorry,
they don't deserve hugs. So even if they were only Nazis because they want hugs, that's not the way you get hugs. You don't get hugs by being a Nazi. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, well, Oh, anyway. I'm glad you guys liked it. Like I said, I am actually very proud of this film. It really inspired me to be an indie filmmaker. I wrote my film expressly because I did this film. And I went through this entire... I'd written other things before that, but I said, I'm going to make a feature film too. And I'm going to avoid all the problems that he had. Because originally my idea was, all my scenes are in one location. And that's why in my film, the second half of the film, they were just trapped in an apartment, like for the whole time. And they don't get out because that's the whole thing, because it's a hostage drama. It's a thriller, man. It's really good. But yes. I should send you. I do have the rough edit. I could send you guys the rough edit. You guys could see that. You can tell me what you think of that. But
how did you stumble into this movie, though?
Literally, it was an ad on some acting site that probably no longer exists. You got to remember, this was the early days of the internet, kids. Like Craigslist was big back then. But this wasn't like Craigslist.
96? 97?
The internet really didn't get big until 2005.
I forget you guys are East Coasters. I'm sorry.
No, there wasn't internet, but I'm saying when YouTube didn't even exist until I think 2003.
Well, the dating site YouTube. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. Basically, I'm talking about a time when AOL was still a prime content hub.
You've got me.
So you mean 1998? I'm just kidding.
Well, no, but to be fair, I did come out east in 1998. I did make this film not that long after. I made this film not long after I met my wife. I met my wife in 2001. So, yeah, like I said, not that long. The internet was still just something we were building out. And he had put up an ad that need heavy-set man to play with mustache to play Nazi camp commandant. I said, you know what? I'm a heavy-set guy. I can play a Nazi commandant. So I sent him my headshot and my resume, and we talked a bit, and he cast me right away.
No casting couch.
No. No, I'll tell you. This is actually something I'm going to say about Keith. He is the most above the board director you're ever going to meet. You're not going to have. You're not going to have any Me Too moments with Keith Crocker. Okay, he may make some unfortunate tweets from time to time, and he certainly loves porn and the exploitation genres. But quite frankly, no. But it's so. As an example, none of the girls had to get naked before he shot them. So he went in not really knowing what these girls were going to look like on camera before he shot them. Sometimes that worked out. Sometimes that didn't work out the way he had hoped. But at the same time, there were other ways where, you sort of fix it and post in your mind where those people don't always look as well as you wanted them to. For that scene, you say, but you know what? They're prisoners of war. That actually makes more sense,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fun fact about Keith Crocker. He did another film. You can rent that film's not free. That costs $1.99. Called The Bloody Ape. And you can look this up. Look up Bloody Ape Big Bang Theory on YouTube. You know the film in Big Bang, the film within the show Big Bang Theory?
Serial Apist.
Yeah.
Serial Apist. It is a shot-for-shot ripoff. What you see from Serial Apist, it matches almost perfectly with what you see in Bloody Ape. That it was.
CBS Cash.
The first time I saw that Serial Apist clip that they show on Big Bang Theory, I said, I've seen this film before. I think Keith Crocker has fans that he doesn't know about out there in the Big Bang Theory universe.
Oh, that Big Bang Theory writers' room is interesting lot. So,
well, you know what? If they Googled, blonde lady gets killed by gorilla, I bet you the trailer for Bloody Ape would show up.
Heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, but Bloody Ape, I'm going to be honest, and Keith can give. I think that Blitzkrieg is the better film between Bloody Ape and Blitzkrieg.
And you're not biased at all.
You know what? I'm not biased. I think that even though I'm in it, I can say objectively, Blitzkrieg is the better film. And I think Keith would say that Blitzkrieg is much more his, Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, okay.
Like, Bloody Ape is maybe more of his, his Pulp Fiction or even his Reservoir Dogs, and but this was his Inglourious Bastards, and I think he achieved what he wanted to achieve with it. I think it's like I said, I really hope people hear this podcast. I really hope they go to Tubi and watch this film. I hope we can get some interest in it.
It's free. Go to Tubi.
I said, when we can get more people and just kind of live commentary, just so much.
Yeah, I would love to do that, man. I mean, and I'm glad we didn't have to do it this week because, as we know, my Wi-Fi exploded. So I don't know if I could watch a film on my Wi-Fi and do a podcast on my Wi-Fi. So probably worked out better that we just.
You love your phone so much. Just get your phone right here.
Did they ever release it on DVD or anything?
Oh yeah. I have the DVD. Yeah, of course.
I figured.
Again, this came out way before digital releasing was a thing. And in fact, at that time, digital releasing was like a real scary concept to people in the arts community. Because it's like, well,
I'm not waiting 5 days to download something. Come on.
well, no, but I mean, it's just the idea that, once it gets out there, then people steal it and do what not. But like I said, I'm assuming Wild Eye got some kind of money off of this deal. And for what it's worth, I'll tell you this, Wild Eye Releasing, those guys are amazing when it comes to publicity. We got write-ups in the New York Times and dozens of places.
Do you have those clips?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure somewhere. Actually, I think if you Blitzkrieg New York Times review or Google New York Times review of Blitzkrieg, they're not very, very, very kind to us. I'll be honest with you.
You're there.
Well, mostly they just kind of got complaining that we didn't do that we went to Nazis when, if you want to do a film about torture, why aren't you doing something about, this was when the Iraqi prison. What was that?
Abu Ghraib.
Abu Ghraib came out, and they're like, oh, with torture being such a big thing, why are we still going back to Nazis? And yet, guess what? Nazis were prescient, New York Times. We were ahead of the curve, because now what are we talking about? Nazis.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, well.
And I mean, when you go older like that, I mean, I'm sure there's more facts and info about the Nazis at that time than there were.
Because even now, that Abu Ghraib thing, it was a lot deeper than, it wasn't just a few bad eggs, that whole thing.
So. I'm sure a lot of that's like top secret, classified.
No,
just half of what went down there.
Just picked up soldiers being picked up soldiers. Like, hate to break it to you guys.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, what they say about things rolling downhill is true. And the fact of the matter is, it's always easier to arrest the guy on the street than it is to arrest the guy in the penthouse. And, that is incidentally why I have the most disdain for the zero tolerance policy on immigration, because a zero tolerance policy increases your numbers, but they increase your numbers with low-hanging fruit that weren't really the threat. So that basically the threat remains while you also terrorize a community. It is like the most lose-lose, but because people are only looking for a headline number, they don't. This is why I say the modern Republican Party has nothing to do with conservatism. Conservative would say, well, I don't care about the headline. I want to know, are we actually accomplishing something with this money we're spending? And if we're not accomplishing something, why am I spending all this money? That's conservatism.
And fiscal responsibility, which I haven't seen in my lifetime.
So no one's ever fiscally responsible when they have a wallet. And as a person who owns a wallet, you know this too. We're all very fiscally responsible with everybody else's wallet. But my wallet, well, I think I know when to quit as soon as the bottle's empty. That's an old Red Skelton joke.
So what do you what was the underlying like motifs and things that the writer and director were going for?
Oh man, see, if you got Keith Crocker on, he would tell you exactly all of like, well, that's a reference to Casablanca. And this scene, there's this like obscure film from 1932 in which I really wanted to capture that essence. The guy knows his stuff. But I think he obviously he does the classic pulls from Shakespeare and Poe. He does. We do our own little cask of cask of Monticello or cask?
It starts with an A.
Yeah. Can you smell that? Can you smell that? Rock stole that from me.
Can you smell what the Charles Esser is cooking?
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff in there, but mostly I think he was trying to do as loving of a homage to both the genre of Naziploitation and just the overarching oeuvre of the war film. This is very much about people in times of war and people dealing with the horrors of war. And you actually see Keith Crocker in this film. He plays the guy that hangs out with the big lieutenant. The little guy, who waxes philosophical all the time. Yeah, that's Keith Crocker. And so anything he says in those things about the horrors of war and who are we to do this and that, and and that those are, I think, are the motifs he's hitting for. He really, like Quentin Tarantino, he very much makes himself the spokesman for his artistic vision when he is in a film. At least in this film, he did. But yeah, it's a little wordy. Fun fact: the priest and the guy playing Uncle Sam in the dream sequence, that is actually the actor who was the lead villain in Bloody Ape.
Oh.
Because he wanted to do more with him, but he was like, you know what? And actually, the guy who plays, I believe he plays the detective in Bloody Ape, he was supposed to be Helmut Schultz. Because he originally shot a teaser trailer for, Blitzkrieg Escape from Stalag 69 years ago, at the same time he did Bloody Ape. And he had this guy who was this big fat guy with a mustache. You see that guy in the Nazi regalia, like the little photo on the chair across me at my muscle's house. That's actually that actor who is my brother Heinrich Schultz. And so yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff with that. There's a lot of callbacks to that original thing, and of course, because I'm trying to. I don't remember if the cut on Tubi has the man ape in it or not, because there's a scene where the lieutenant actually kills the man ape. So if you didn't see a giant gorilla costume, that scene didn't make it into the final cut. There are cuts out there with the man ape scene, so you got to get the extended director's cut for that. But that was actually the same costume that was the Bloody Ape. So,
I feel like we have to I almost feel like we're gonna have to review Bloody Ape 2 one of these days.
Honestly, like I said, it's much more in the genre of like your 70s cop exploitation film, you know. And you know, it's definitely a different film, but it was his first work, and you know, I think it has its moments. It's, you know, maybe not very PC, I'll say that. And here's what I'll say about PC culture. I've been watching the Match Game, you know, because Mr. Raber. No, the old one.
Oh.
The one from the 70s. And man, it makes me uncomfortable to watch that show sometimes because they are just.
Have you ever watched Old Family Feud?
With Richard Dawson. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
No. Richard Dawson was just, you know, Lech. Yeah, he was just great. You know, and actually I felt he actually tried to be as much of a gentleman as he could. I think sometimes those women were coming on to him. But Rayburn, like, he will just like start throwing out racial epitaphs left and right, and you know, just because it's funny and we're having a joke. You know, he actually called oh man, what's his name? The guy who played the priest on Amen.
Oh, not Sherman Hemsley.
No, not Sherman Helmsley. No, the guy that was the handsome. No.
Oh, the deacon.
The deacon, yeah.
Sherman Helmsley was. Yeah, he was the.
But anyway, he was on there. He just did a whole thing where we called him boy, and it was like, oh my goodness, yeah. And he was putting on a character, putting on a voice, you know, because the match was, the word was to you, and he said nuts to you, nuts to you, boy, and it was. And then he went to a whole thing where he's doing this Chinese accent for a Confucius say thing. Then he calls Fanny Flagg dumb. You are just a dumb broad. It's like, man, I am not comfortable with this. So that 70s genre, like, if you ever wonder why PC culture became a thing, it's because really people were really uncomfortable with that because it was very rude.
Because old people were so racist.
Yeah, well, not even. Yeah, I mean, racist, sexist.
70, they're old now.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, we're gonna have to do like a live commentary series with we'll come back to Blitzkrieg. We'll have to do Bloody Ape when we can get Keith.
Yeah, Keith is down for it if we whenever we'd like to, man. He is very he does like to talk about his work, you know. He actually does like lectures on film, you know. Yeah, he too is a professor like you, Phil. Okay.
Can we talk comic books? Because there is like comic book that we talk about.
Yeah.
Look what they had this week.
Archie and Batman 66.
Yes, 1 and 2.
Did you enjoy it, or have you not read it yet?
I loved 1. I'm like halfway through 2. I haven't gotten the chance to really finish 2 since I picked it up on Wednesday. But yeah, I love it. It's great. I wanted to read some of the other things, you know, of which I gotta tell you, pick of the week.
Lex Luthor and Porky Pig.
Oh my god, I was skeptical. Okay, so also there's another one I want to talk about, but I was skeptical about this. I was just like, because I like the Batman and Elmer Fudd one, that whole noir feel that they had.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I can give this a chance. But Porky Pig, Lex Luthor, I'm not really. But it surprised me.
Yeah. Well, you know, the main reason I had to pick it up is the cover with that just nightmare fuel that is Porky Pig.
Yes, that is nightmare fuel.
In fact, Tristan looked at this and says, oh, wow, I have got to read this comic book.
Ah!
But here's what I tell you. Okay, I also picked up this because Gossamer,
Harley Quinn Gossamer,
is one of my absolute favorite Looney Tunes.
Really?
I'm weird, but yeah. It is expressly because he does nothing. But I love Gossamer. This was awful.
Oh.
Harley Quinn.
And you know what? That's exactly the problem. You know what the difference between Porky Pig meets Lex Luthor and Gossamer meets Harley Quinn? Do you know what the difference is?
Beaver jokes, a little more sophistication.
Well, no. This is about Porky Pig. This is about Harley Quinn.
Oh.
Well, you said Gossamer doesn't do much.
He doesn't. Well, no, but you know what? You can do a lot from his perspective. It all stays in. It's in. So basically, you can do some really interesting things with Gossamer watching Harley Quinn, or you know, interacting, you know, and being that silent, doing a Harpo Marx, which is what Gossamer does. He's, you know, he sometimes growls, but mostly he's just Harpo Marx, and he rips, and then you had a whole thing with freaking Bugs Bunny at the end. It's just this is like Batman meets Harley Quinn in comic book form.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, not worth $5. That's what I'll tell you.
Can I?
This.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, no, it's okay. This more than worth $5. You know, I'll tell you. Even the oh, did we lose my sound?
No, you're good.
Oh, making mouth things at me. Okay, sorry. You know,
No, I just said $5.
I know. I'm like,
this wasn't that horrible. The actual Looney Tune backup for Harley, but it still wasn't good. It wasn't redemptive enough. They go into a whole slapstick thing and it just goes on way too long. The Looney Tune backup for Lex Luthor, I'll say it wasn't as strong. But you know what? The first part of this is so strong. I was like, oh yeah, that was a fun little backup. You know, it was a fun little cartoon short at the end. You don't worry about it as much. But and the fact of the matter is, they played Porky and Lex pitch perfectly in this. You know, where I really feel you're reading this and you don't think necessarily that any of this is stuff that Lex Luthor wouldn't do. You know, it's very much a Lex Luthor. This is the kind of person Lex Luthor is, even though they play it with comedy, like he's the guy stealing the sandwiches because he can. And Porky Pig is just the way Porky is, and the way that he approaches things. It's just brilliantly written. This very much my pick of the week this week.
ooh,
Can I recommend something I think you might like?
Sure.
what's that?
Daredevil Annual 1. It's a flashback to when Daredevil met Misty Knight for the first time. It's way more Misty than Daredevil.
Yes.
Like she's still a detective, you know,
Okay.
for the NYPD. Yeah. Even though she has the arm on the cover, she doesn't have the arm yet. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go outside the box for my pick of the week. It's the one that I've been waiting on for freaking ever. They've been hyping it up for like, I don't even know, like 4 or 5, 6 months or something like that. It's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Shattered Grid #1. It was $8. Now I'm going to tell you it's $8. But it is worth it because it is the conclusion to one of the most epic Power Ranger storylines. It just changes everything. It makes me wish that we could have the original back together, but of course we can't because Yellow Ranger passed away a while ago. But it's just everything as a Power Ranger fan that you really, really want. Artwork was great. Story was great. That conclusion just blew my mind. So happy. So happy. You guys should pick it up if you're a Power Rangers fan.
Hey, Lil, did you read any of the DC annuals this week?
I did. I wasn't impressed, but I did.
I liked. Well, of course, I like Nightwing, but I thought it's better than the. I thought it was better than the storyline that's been going through the regular. It's kind of like a continuation of that storyline, but I thought it was a lot better.
Yeah.
Just with like the news is lying to us.
Oh, another one that was really good for the DC Looney Tunes was the Catwoman, Tweety, and Sylvester. Oh my god, It was so good. And Claire, like they even got Clary on the Witch Boy in there. Like you guys need to pick that up. Actually, like if you haven't read it, read it.
Cool.
Did you read Daffy Duck Meets Joker?
Not yet.
Yeah. See,
I hear good things about it. So
you know what it is? I looked at it, and the same thing I feel about Harley Quinn. That's sort of what I felt about it. Is like there's not enough Daffy in this. Daffy's not being Daffy enough. Like, for example, when we get Daffy's cameo in the Lex Luthor book.
Yeah. Because you have to. It's Porky.
Yeah, but it is so Daffy. And then they really do a nice thing here, because here we have our Daffy, you know, basically, because he makes the point, because, of course, you know, Lex's social media platform you can order drugs through. And basically, Daffy's just trolling him the whole time.
Do you know what that social media is a reference to, actually, though?
Oh, what?
It's Kick. It's supposed to be Kick. I don't know if you young kids know about Kick, but yeah. I
remember Kick at some point, but
they went away and then they came back. Yeah.
Yes. DD Creeper is Daffy Duck's handle. I love that. But yeah, Daffy Duck, he's great in it, and he's great in this. And like I said, I don't think he is as from what I browsed through on the Daffy Duck Meets Joker, it just seems like, you know, you're bringing the Looney Tunes into this universe. You have to find a way to make them make sense in this universe.
if you wanted to make sense, you should definitely pick up that Catwoman and Tweety Bird. Also, side note, Black Canary does make an epic appearance in that one. But like the storyline is just so dope. Like, and it's like the Tweety Bird and the Sylvester that are in there, they're recognizable, and it's just, oh my god! Like I didn't think I was gonna like it because it's Catwoman, newfangled Catwoman, but it was so good. But the Black Canary did draw me in. So if you're a fan of Black Canary, you need to go ahead and spend that $5.
I'm gonna have to look for that.
And it's Gail Simone, so
okay. Well,
if that helps tickle your fancy, anybody out there?
My fancy is adequately tickled. Then, yeah. You know what I love about the Archie Batman piece?
What did you love most about it?
Well, again, it comes to this idea of doing these crossovers that are pitch perfect. That no one in this seems out of place in this storyline. The Archie gang doesn't seem that out of place, and hey, I grew up watching the Archies. So I'm familiar with who the Archies are. I read some of their books too, but in the entire way that they approach their humor, they do seem like they could exist within a Gotham City 1966 universe. Yeah. And then you cross over with the Batman characters, and of course, my favorite thing about this is they actually, we have the United Underworld, which I think. Oh, this is actually issue 2. This is one I'm only halfway. We have the United Underworld, and they come to that realization, wait, there aren't superheroes outside of Gotham. Why don't we conquer other places with rich people? And that is our overarching plot of the Archie Batman 66 universe, and I'm really enjoying it. I will probably pick up issue 3 once I finish issue 2. So
glad to see you're enjoying something.
It's something Charlie Esser would like. Let me just put it to you that way.
You know what? I have liked pretty much every Archie book I've read. I haven't read that many, but every Archie book I read, I picked up Jughead on your recommendation. I really enjoyed that, and I do like what Archie does, especially at the moment. And honestly, the one thing I didn't like, I'm going to say this, I didn't like Jughead basically doing his whole all I can answer is food when I'm hungry. I can't give a proper answer. It's like, dude, you've got some kind of problem. You really need to see a doctor.
He's got low blood sugar.
This goes way beyond hypoglycemia. That's what I'm going to say. It's like, first off, people who are hypoglycemic, they carry nuts around with them. People who are hypoglycemic carry snacks because they have because they know their blood sugar will drop and they have these problems. So I mean, Jughead.
Jughead.
Well, back in the cartoon, he used to always keep a hamburger under his hat.
Yeah, true.
And he's not doing that. So it's like, Jughead, I got no sympathy for you if you don't take care of your medical condition. That's my statement on Jughead in Batman 66. Man is not taking care of himself. I can't tolerate self-destructive people.
Oh, can I mention a book, another Marvel book?
No, sure. I wanted to get Red Hood and the Outlaws annual number 2 out there too, though. That's the best annual.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Sorry, Nightwing. That was my pick for that annual. I thought that was epic. I loved it.
And I hear they're no longer the Outlaws.
Well, Artemis and Bizarro are kind of missing, although we see them at the end of this one. But yeah, I think they're like the next arc. They're going to focus more on Jason Todd.
Wonder why Titans might be spinning off a Red Hood show.
Well, I think there's at least one
episode 9. So
I was gonna say, I think isn't there at least one episode that's called Jason Todd?
Yeah, it's episode 9 probably. I mean, they've already spun out Doom Patrol, and another one. So I wouldn't be surprised. So that might be they're trying to sneak it up.
Yes, and Brian Edward Hill, who I interviewed last night, scroll down, said he'll come back and talk to us because he said he wrote 2 of the episodes of Titans. So
did he say which ones, or he wasn't allowed?
He wasn't sure, but he thought they were going to be. He thought it was 4 and 6, but he said he wasn't sure if he had the numbering right.
Yeah, because sometimes I would assume they shot out of order for a lot of that stuff.
Just out of curiosity, for the Doom Patrol, is it single universe with the Teen Titans?
Yes.
Show, so it's going to be a Beast Boy crossover.
I think they said. I thought they said that the one character who might.
They did change one. Yeah.
I thought the character they said was going to tie all the shows together might be Cyborg.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see how that kid does first. Let's not just jump the gun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, he is in the Justice League, so.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, worst mistake they ever made. Just because you need some color, there's plenty of other people they could have put in. I'm just saying. He belongs with the Titans, always and forever.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to argue the point, but you know what I think it is? Well, no, because you had Black Lightning. See, that's the thing. It's like
exactly.
You could say, well,
there's so many people they could have chosen instead of him.
Yeah, I think maybe Black. Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe you could say that people were worried with Black Lightning being too 70s, or being too confused with Black Vulcan.
Either way.
Yeah.
Like a politician, capitalize on the name confusion if you can.
Because I mean, there's a Batman and Outsiders book coming out soon, and Black Lightning's a big part of that.
Just let it be the Outsiders. Batman is.
I know.
The quote rapping in the trailer: "F Batman. Batman is out."
Well, I don't know if that was a DC decision, because Brian said, who's writing it, he did say he is a big Batman fan. So
yeah.
He's played out. We need to do, unless it's gonna be that Batman Beyond movie with Michael Keaton and Stephen R. McQueen as Terry. I don't want to hear anything else about Batman.
We might not even get Batman every issue too, because I know Brian was saying last night that it's not going to be like one of those team books where every member has to show up every issue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So.
And not for nothing, Batman is a busy man, and he's not Wolverine. He doesn't have Batman does actually need to sleep.
He's better.
No, he's not better than Wolverine. Wolverine has magical powers. It's like, it's like being magic. That helps. Hey, speaking of magical people, did anyone get the chance to read Exiles? Because Willie's in.
Not yet. I want to though.
Oh well, okay, very good. Oh man, well, so I don't want to spoil it because there's basically it's the Old West. I'm just going to give you one little spoiler. Preacher Xavier. Yeah, it is. It's good.
He can't stand on his soapbox, so how can he be a preacher?
Oh,
sorry.
Little Hellfire's views of the disabled. There are no
just Professor X. You know how I feel about him now. In my old age, I've just become so embittered with that man.
What I'm going to tell you is Old West Xavier, they just say, you know what? He's a supervillain. He's got supervillain powers. Let's just cut to the chase. And I love that. What?
Nothing.
You don't like the idea that Charles Xavier is a supervillain?
No, I love it. It's what I've been saying all along.
That's a lowest belief.
Yeah, I mean, no, really, he is. He is a supervillain.
It gives it away.
Yeah, it's like I said, there are very few heroes with telepathy. It's like,
especially in that new body
and mind control telepathy too. That's the thing. It's not just telepathy. It's not just I can read your thought. It's your name is now Betty Sue. Go over there. It is a very different thing that Charles Xavier has, and it is a villain's power. It is It is very much the original Superman from the original comic that Schuster and Siegel did. Those who remember it, were about the guy who creates the machine that increases his intellect, gives himself psychic powers, and he had a bald head. Yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. It's like, here's what I'll tell you. When it comes to Stan Lee, he knows there's no shame in stealing from the best. And not for nothing, Siegel and Schuster, they never went back to that character. It's like, you just left that character there? Mine now. I'm going to make him a superhero.
All right, I want to mention two books. All right, first I'll go to the Marvel book. I don't mention this book enough. I haven't mentioned it in a while. Moon Knight 198.
Okay.
If you like Blitzkrieg, you'll like this book. Moon Knight's like infiltrating like this like evil secret society, and he has to do like all these trials. I don't want to give too much away, but one of the trials he has to like dive in this dolphin tank and fight like a rabies infested dolphin.
Dolphins are rapists. They deserve everything they get.
Max Bemis is insane, but it's awesome.
A rabid dolphin.
Yes.
See, now I got to pick that up.
Hey, you know where to read it.
All right. But I should buy comic books.
Yes,
the entire reason people share comic books is to inspire others to say, this is a good comic book. And quite frankly, if any of you guys haven't read one of my books, if you want me to send you Archie Batman 66 after I've read it, I will happily mail it to you.
You're talking to me or me and Lil for the
No,
audience?
you already have it, so he's talking to you. Did you read Venom's first host #1, by the way, Phil?
No.
I mean, it's Mark Bagley.
Oh, is it?
Doing the art. Yeah. Mike Costa wrote it, but yeah, Mark Bagley's doing the art. I mean, this is epic Venom art. You just next time you go, you just browse through it.
I might pick it up because I think I have to pick up the most recent 1 or 2 issues of Venom for our Comic Capers series.
Yeah.
But no, but you know what else was good? The new regular team on Batgirl put out Batgirl Annual 2.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's the 2 ladies, right?
Well, yeah, I believe so. Yes, and it's the regular team, and it's basically Barbara Gordon's psycho brother, James Gordon Jr. And
they're bringing him back, really?
Well, he's still in prison, but he basically, from behind bars, created another serial killer, and Barbara has to track down this serial killer. First, figure out who it is.
Why does it feel like a Venom ripoff? I feel like Carnage is about to be born.
No,
but
it's not like. But it's no one with superpowers. It's just like a regular serial killer thing.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's very good. It's a thriller. And you know what impressed me? DC put codes in all their annuals this week.
Really?
Oh,
yeah, they're trying.
They want you to buy that subscription. They're like, can we have some goodwill? Okay, we gave you a code. How about you go spend whatever it is to spend for DC Universe? How much is it, Phil?
It's what is it? 70? Is it $74 for 15 months?
For 15 months.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's actually a good deal.
Or
yeah,
I mean, it's what is it, 7 or 8 something a month if you want to do it that way? But yeah, it's still cheaper if you do the the 15 months.
No. I mean, that's how I got onto Amazon Prime. It's because I had my because I had my tax return money, and then suddenly that $100 wasn't that bad, and that's like, well, that's actually a good price.
Yeah,
so if they can wait
a year than every month it is.
Yeah, if they can wait till May or March if I file taxes early, I may get it. I may pay that year up front. Okay, DC Universe, impress me.
And I mean, they're gonna have digital comics on. They're gonna have digital comics on there and all the old stuff. I mean,
yeah, all the old stuff. We'll see
movies, cartoons.
We'll see what Warner Brothers and AT&T and all them say eventually. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, are they gonna have the old Shazam serials?
If they did, I would die. And I don't think they can actually have Batman 66 on there anyway, though. So
why? I thought they got all the rights, and then finally. Well, I thought that's the reason why it wasn't on DVD for so long, is because they didn't have the rights.
That was the reason.
I thought they wrangled all the rights finally.
We'll see. Streaming rights are kind of a little different, just because
Titans doesn't start till October, but
they're trying to steal the Arrowverse's thunder, and I do not appreciate it.
Yeah, but the app drops in September, so so there's time to watch the old stuff and read the comics.
Have you guys noticed that the ads for the new Arrowverse season have Flash in the center?
Because he's the #1 show on the CW. Period. He's the #1 show on the Arrowverse.
Well, yeah, exactly. So should we really be calling this the Arrowverse?
Well, Arrow started it all.
Well, because he was first. That's the
reason. Respect for Stephen Amell that we call it the Arrowverse.
Oh, okay.
Because everything else.
That's the fandom thing. Yeah, they tried to say Flareverse, and we're like, no, it's the Arrowverse. Respect Stephen.
Because Flash spun out of it, Arrow, and half of those people from Legends spun out of Arrow.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean.
You mean Arrow season 7? Green is the new black.
If only.
Oh, you're gonna get your shower scene fight, Lil. Settle down.
I don't think they're gonna show butt on the CW on a Monday night at 8:00. I just don't think it's gonna happen. But if we get some more abs,
get some abs
and a salmon ladder. Let's get back to basics of season 1.
And did I?
You began to show Patrick Stewart's butt 20 years ago. They can show butt. Patrick Stewart has a nice butt.
That's my drop.
That is way better than Mark Harmon can get it.
There are 4 lights. You guys saw the
yeah, 4 lights one. Yeah.
We get to see, and that was apparently, according to Patrick Stewart, that is 100% his hiney.
Although you know what, young William Shatner. I'm just saying.
Well,
William Shatner can get it.
William Shatner was a heartthrob. We always used to be younger.
That's where I would go. Star Trek original series. I'm just saying.
Oh, Mark Harmon can get it.
Oh, have you guys seen the Oh, speaking of name confusion.
No retractions.
Yes. Have you guys seen the Quentin Tarantino Star Trek trailer that Nerdist put out?
I
No.
saw it, yeah, because you put it up.
Well, of
Didn't
course,
notice any traffic.
No, I don't know. It popped up. I mean, but it really struck me that, see, this is why I said Quentin Tarantino is the guy to reboot the series.
I mean, he
really
was a script doctor back in the day. It's just when he gets alone by himself and there's no like oversight and balances and checks that he gets out there.
I got to think that the people that own Star Trek are going to have some canon lawyers there this time, unlike the Abramsverse. Basically, I think they got burnt with the Abramsverse, and but they need someone that can respect a genre and bring out what is great in a genre. Because I think that is what I think Tarantino does, and Keith Cracker does. He can respect a genre and tell a new story within it.
Okay, and well, since we're going to do a little I'm going to do a little retraction. I actually started watching Enterprise because I remembered season 4 was actually like really good. And it was like where they started with like, they were getting into the birth of the Mirrorverse. Mm-hmm. But Bakula still sucks. I agree with Shatner on that. Bakula, you still suck. Love your other stuff, but Enterprise was not your best.
I don't know. I love Quantum Leap. That's what I'll say.
Yes.
And honestly, I
was so offended when they were trying to reboot it. I'm like, no!
Unless they do it with Bakula.
Well, yeah, I mean,
he's still leaping.
That's a revival, not a reboot.
Yeah, all right, to do the revival. Yeah. He's still leaping because they said he never leaped home. Still leaping.
That ending is depressing, actually, when you think about it.
I know. Well,
I don't know.
Well, they set it up where it was his choice.
Exactly. That's the thing. I think he made the choice. I can do more good. It's basically the Spider-Man dilemma. I could throw this costume in the trash. I could walk away. I could go back to being a showbiz guy. I could do all these things. But you know what? It's my choice. I'm going to be the hero. And you know what? I'm going to tell you this. The saddest part, the saddest episode of Quantum Leap came way before that, when you met Dr. Beckett's wife. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And you found out that he had this whole life.
And he'd even remember her for a while.
He doesn't even remember, yeah. And then, you find out that like he goes and impregnates some woman in the past, and his daughter is now working on the project, which is just like messed up but crazy and cool.
Legends just stole that then. That sounds like the Dr. Martin Stein arc, basically. Now that I'm thinking about it.
That was a time remnant, though.
I was having a whole conversation the other day, with someone who was talking about Swamp Thing being underrated, and I told him about how he had misspelled Man Thing in his opening post.
Charlie Esser went on a 30-minute rant about Alan Moore.
Understand sophisticated suspense. It's okay.
Hey, it's Alan Moore. Charlie Esser's not a fan of Alan Moore.
True, but he's not a fan of sophisticated suspense either. It's fine.
No, I'm not a fan. Well, no, I'm a fan of it. It's fine. It's good work. I'm just saying, don't act like it's original, because all Alan Moore did was he made Swamp Thing even more of a ripoff of Man Thing, because Man Thing had always been a quasi-mystical force at the center of the nexus of realities. And Alan Moore said, "Oh, that sounds like a good idea. I'll just steal that." Because like Stan Lee says, there's no shame in stealing from the best. There you go. I paid you a compliment, Alan Moore.
Oh my God! Did you read Web of Venom, by the way, Phil? I didn't read it because it sounded kind of cheesy, and I didn't want to spend an extra $5.
No, I didn't. I mean, maybe I should go make a Venom trip this weekend or something.
Yeah, let me know how that one goes. I didn't hear good things about it, but it's Venom, so I'm tempted.
Yeah, we'll see if I pull the trigger on that. But yeah, I mean, we could always do like this. We get to it on Comic Capers, do a sampling of all 3 of those current series.
Yeah, definitely.
Boy, they're not milking that Venom movie coming out, huh?
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny is that the Lando movie is canceled, but those Star Wars books are still churning out for Lando. So
they canceled the Lando movie?
They cancel all Star Wars movies
Except
after the Han Solo debacle.
Yeah, everything
debacle.
everything right now is canceled except for episode 9, episode 10, whatever.
So that's interesting. They've indefinitely suspended Guardians. They've canceled Star Wars
Stories. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if maybe the space opera as a genre isn't as profitable as they thought. It is effects.
No, Guardians of the Galaxy was definitely a fun novelty as their exploration into the epic space opera for sure. 2 was not as good as 1, but it was good. So maybe.
Well, like Charlie Esser said, maybe cutting 2, they have more characters to play with now. Fantastic Four, X-Men.
I'd much rather Fantastic 1 than a Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Well, yeah. Well, no, but it's also surprising me that they're going to be dialing back Star Wars in that.
Well, if it's not gonna hit like how they want to, I totally understand. But it's like, don't cancel Lando. Lando might surprise you. People love Donald Glover right now.
I mean, that thing's a big. Well, they don't want to water it down too much.
Yeah.
And I think probably the negative reactions to Han, to Solo, probably.
But Lando was the best received thing in it.
True, but it's still this idea of okay, we're going to tell you.
But he still has the stink of Solo on him now.
No. It's not. No, it's not the stink of Solo. It's the fact that what if we told a story that isn't about this one Skywalker clan that is basically screwing up the entire galaxy?
I was gonna say, which makes nerds mad.
Yeah. Well, no, but it is. It's about this one. It's like a guy and his girlfriend and their 2 kids and all their fights, and how on a galactic scale that causes misery and oppression. And it's like, it's the Donald Trump story before the Donald Trump story.
I wonder if they're going to push the. I wonder if they're going to push the movie
Eric
back.
Alone.
What?
And Baron. Those are the only 2 I can tolerate.
I wonder if they're going to push the Lando movie back maybe a couple years just so because isn't
Donald Glover, he'll be on to the next thing.
Yeah, because yeah, I know, but I mean, isn't Billy D supposed to be a 9? Maybe after they bring Billy D back, maybe that's when they pull the trigger on the Lando.
I hope so. I think it's something worth it would bring me back to the Star Wars franchise. I haven't watched it since a while. And y'all know how I feel. Really, it's only 3 movies that count. The original trilogy. Everything else is a figment of y'all's imagination.
Well, not for nothing. I think they have a real problem with the gatists that exist.
I hate that. I hate it so much.
I know. And it's like, we really want to do a Lando story. We think it'll be good. But, man, there's all these freaking...
All these angry internet trolls. No, don't call them nerds. They're internet trolls. They don't deserve the brand of nerd.
Fair enough. These trolls are gonna attack.
Trolls are gonna troll.
They better go back under their bridge. I want my Lando movie.
I want, we need some orcs to deal with these trolls. That's all I gotta say.
Good. No, good. Maybe if Donald Glover doesn't do Lando, maybe we can get our damn Deadpool animated series.
That's dead in the water. That's dead in the water. That was in developmental hell forever anyway. Trust me, I want it too, but
here's a crazy notion. So this is something I was thinking about because everyone's saying, oh well, obviously they're gonna bring Peter Parker back because there's Spider-Man 2 in the works, and obviously Black Panther can't be gone because there's going to be a Black Panther 2, and I was thinking,
and 3 and 4 where X-Men come back.
Yeah. I know, but I was thinking, but technically in both those characters' cases, there is another character who uses their name.
Oh yeah.
In the case of Black Panther
and Miles
Morales. I was thinking, well, what if they really just what if Spider-Man 2 is Miles Morales?
Yeah, but haven't they already confirmed it's Tom Holland though?
Yeah. Plus, I thought that the thing about Miles Morales was that Sony got to keep him, which is why they're doing that weird not animated computer generated
Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying it
that
might be
dope though. Like I don't know why.
Here's what I'm tell you. You know what film I'd love to see is the Spider-Man film that takes place in between Avengers 3 and 4, where Miles Morales shows up as the Spider-Man who has to rise to the occasion.
Yeah, but the timeline's kind of funky though, because remember,
Well, we know he exists because of Donald Glover's character being his uncle.
But how old is he though? Yeah, I don't know.
Well, hey, I have an aunt that's only like 4 years older than me, so
yeah. I mean, not for nothing. Miles Morales is young in the comics too. In fact, Peter Parker is like, you're real young, and like Peter Parker is like was like 16. It's like you're like Miles Morales. I think is supposed to be 13 when he gets his powers.
Originally, yeah.
So yeah, it totally works. And yes, nieces and nephews, they can. My oldest nephew is 4 years younger than me. My youngest nephew is like 20 years younger than me. So, you know.
Yeah. And I mean, they could do it at another time. I don't know how much time's going to pass between Avengers, Infinity War and the next one. It might be no time at all.
Okay, but what we all really want is just Wesley Snipes to reprise his role as Blade. I heard that he had some stuff in the works at Marvel and they're just trying to fit it in. I know that they're going to probably recast if they really do want to do Blade in the MCU, but
I don't know.
They need a little more color on their roster. I'm just saying.
Here's what I'm going to say is I love Wesley Snipes' Blade. I'm not going to say I don't love Wesley Snipes' Blade, but it's the Forever Night conundrum. Do you ever watch Forever Night, or as I also like to say, the Angel conundrum?
Yes.
Angel's
but
first
to be fair, Wesley Snipes is 56 and he can pass for his mid-30s. I'm just saying he keeps in great shape.
Oh Lord, here we go. Wesley Snipes can get it.
No.
And to be fair, Blade is not an immortal vampire.
Exactly.
True.
So his aging, he can be
but you
like
get beat out in the sun all the time.
Hey, has anybody been watching Venture Brothers, or is that just me?
I'm trying to remember it. It's on my DVR. Is it good?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Is this the last season? I hope not.
There's no such thing as a last season.
Well, they take indefinite hiatus though. It feels like forever.
I want to call him Justin Hammer, but that's not their name. What the guys who produce this statement is it's hard to make cartoons. This is a very time intensive process, and we also have to write good stories that won't be completely dated when we write them, so that can fit into the genre that we've created and this universe that we've created. Basically what they say is writing cartoons, much like healthcare, is hard, and it takes a long time to write these things. Please don't be. We can't all be Teen Titans Go, which has a very aggressive schedule as well.
And just like that show, we've reached 200 episodes.
Yay! Oh, now we can go into syndication, right?
We could have went in syndication episode 88.
I can just retire on the residuals from all this now.
You can send us our checks.
You can live on $1.
All right, are we done?
Now we talked
talked everything.
Talked a lot. We talked. You even got a Trump reference in there, so yeah.
As you do.
But no, I mean, if we're gonna go, Charlie Esser, congratulations on 200 episodes. Congratulations on your movie career.
Yay! Yeah. Who knows? Someday it may happen. But it has happened. Here's what I'm gonna say. You know, I have written professionally. I have acted. I'd actually already acted professionally by the time I came out to the East Coast. I did dinner theater. I've been paid for my skills as a writer, as an actor, I haven't been paid as a producer, but I've produced a lot. I'm actually very proud of all the steps I've taken in my life. I never got to be, the next big thing, but you know what? Who does? But I will never sit there saying, "Oh, I wish I had made a movie. I wish I'd wrote a movie. I wish I'd actually made something and made it be my thing." It's like, yeah, maybe they're not that good, or maybe there's stuff that people find on YouTube 20 years from now. 40 years from now, someone could find Downriver Sucks on Vimeo and say, "Oh, this is great," and it can have this huge thing, and like, it was whatever happened to this guy, and it's like, "Oh, he died 20 years ago." It's like, "Oh, well, too bad he was an unrecognized genius." I am on the path to be an unrecognized genius, and you know what? That's good enough for me.
You've starred in movies, you've written for movies, and now you're on an award-winning podcast.
I am on an award-winning podcast.
Living the dream, man.
In the words of Kevin Smith, a big bucket of win.
Big bucket of win. Okay.
I think
What?
It gets funny because I got confused if this was Capes and Lunatics or if this was a Superconnectivity.
Well, it's Superconnectivity 200, so it could be a little bigger.
Oh, okay, but the
That's
thing
what she
is,
said.
the thing is 200 sounded small for Superconnectivity. I've been doing this a while now. I don't know. I thought we did 200 years ago, but okay.
It's bigger than it looks.
I guess.
So we're not growing.
I guess it's been about 4 years, and you do one a week. So yeah, I guess 2 episodes. Yeah, okay, 200 episodes. But anyway, I'm so proud that you guys came out here. You watched my movie. You guys enjoyed my movie. That actually means a lot to me. That it's because you could have been like sitting here ribbing on me, or you could have been like, it had some great sound design. Well, actually, you did say you liked the scoring.
But I mean that because I'm one of those nerds.
Yeah, Keith found. I have no idea if he has the rights to any of the music in that film, but it's sort of a don't ask, don't tell thing when it comes to music rights sometimes. Just saying, but although maybe he totally vetted it, and I'll go along with that. I remember he told me once his cousin was a lawyer, so I assume, and I signed some sort of piece of paper at some point. So.
Okay.
Yes, I think he may own Benjamin now. I'm not sure, but that's okay. He'll have a career in film. Here I'll tell you, Ben, he's not a showbiz guy. He's
not like Tristan.
No, Tristan. See, that's the thing. He wanted to get my firstborn. I should have gone for the secondborn.
Tristan.
Jokes on you. He is a showman. Although Ben, he likes to be the behind the scenes stuff. And I may have gotten him into the anime class in junior high this year, so fingers crossed. I think you'll enjoy it. Okay, so anyway, that's enough of my life and my wonderful children and all the things I've done. And Lilith, how can people find you to talk about all the many things you've done? You actually, you've got a website and a whole social media persona.
Yeah, if you nerds want to fight me or talk DC TV, at Lilith Hellfire. If you want to talk Smallville, Superman, and or love to swear, find me on Save Me Podcast over on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and or Instagram.
And of course, the founder.
I just show up and look pretty and spout big words, and then I'm done. The sound man. That's your new name.
Yes, and of course, the founder of the Feast. The creator of the Capes and Lunatics podcast, who is kind enough to allow my humble podcast to be on his network. It is also on the Southgate network, but Phil said, no, you come with me. And of course, Phil and we did the Marvel Roundup years ago, and it means a lot to me, Phil. You're always there. You're my super connectivity partner. This is as much your podcast as it is mine. And
you started this episode 1. It was you and Robert Southgate, that other actor.
3 episodes.
Yeah.
You and that other actor, Robert Southgate.
Rob Southgate, he's a great man. I give all love and admiration to him. He built this thing that we are now building upon as well. It's like a gigantic erector set, or the family that was on the Gong Show last night, where the dad did a stand and the mom did a stand on his legs, and the kids did a stand on each of them, built a little inverted pyramid, and then they juggled. It was great. They won, and they deserved to win. Phil, how can people do?
I'm glad you asked that question. If you'd like to get a hold of me, especially for any interviews, email me nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I'm at nightwingpdp. You can also write to Capes and Lunatics, capesandlunatics@gmail.com. And we're on Facebook. We're on Twitter at Capes Lunatics. We're on Instagram and the voicemail, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. Call us and give Charlie Esser some work.
And, of course, you can always write to me that old-fashioned email way that we are Miles Impossible instead. If you'd like to find out about my writing, my acting, my producing, anything you need, I'm your one-stop shop, and I'm a triple threat. At Charlie Esser, no, not at Charlie Esser, at Superconnectivity blog at gmail.com. I forget I don't know the social. See, this is why I admire Lola so much. She knows the social media. She is a mastress of this thing.
Flighty Hollywood actors.
Yeah, I am the first to. I don't know what I'm doing. You can always write to me in an old-fashioned email way the way Maz and Paz once did at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And of course, follow me on the Twitters as I live tweet Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is coming back, and
Eventually.
Cloak and Dagger, which is coming back, and other things that are coming back, like the Orville. Oh boy, can't wait. Gotham? Yes, Gotham. Gotham.
That's for you, Rob Southgate.
I like Gotham because I am from Jersey. I live in Jersey. And Gotham is actually in Jersey, as we learned from Batman v Superman. You can always follow me to talk about Gotham at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality.
Bing.
There you go. See, I think that should be ping for quality, but that's the way Maz did it, and we had a whole conversation at that time too. But I love having Maz on the show because Maz is my skinny rich friend. Listen to us on the Cage Cast and aka Jones Cast, which is still running strong. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for connecting with us for 200 episodes, or even just a few if this is your first. Please, super connect with us once again. Good night.
You always remember your first.
No, I do, man. I remember. I'll tell you something. I remember listening to Nuff Said, and Rob said, "Oh yeah, there's this guy, Charlie Esser. He keeps on posting on our Facebook page. I think this guy's going to do something with it. I don't know what yet. He's going to write us a blog, which is why it's a blog. He's going to do us a podcast." And I remember listening to Rob saying that about me, and it made me so happy.